After filling up, it's time to get going. There is frequent minibuses destined for the capital of Transnistria Tiraspol every 20 minutes from 6:30 in the morning to 5 p.m. The tickets are very easy to get. You can get at the official counter and it costs 37 lei and you get a receipt. Do not buy the ticket directly from the driver or people on the bus stand because they can overcharge you. The average journey takes about 2 hours provided the border guard don't feel like slowing you down. The ticket costs approximately 35 to 40 leads or $2. Oh yeah, please bring your passport and don't say anything stupid to the guard at the border control. I was actually arrested for the filming at the border and ending up getting interrogated by the Russian KGB for 4 hours. Yes, the Russians. So beware and preferably don't bring any serious looking filming equipment. Sadly, the footage I shot at the border are seized. Assume everything is fine. You'll be given a temporary admission valid for 24 hours. After being released, I decided to continue on my journey. I have big balls. First on the list is only 10 minutes away from the immigration post, the Turkish-built Bendery Fortress. Now after all that trouble, we finally got into the Bendery Fortress. It's actually very nice right here. The bus actually stops right about 100 meters away from the ticket office, and you buy your tickets in Moldovan lies or you can buy in the Transnistrian rubles. And then once you do that, you have to walk through our abandoned factory to get to this very nice fortress. This is actually founded in 1538 and is one of the oldest Ottoman fortress that's still in the present shape today. The fortress was named after the location of its town, but was known in the Middle Ages in Romania as Tahina, and later as Bender in Ottoman sources. The citadel is considered the true evidence of the former power of the Ottoman Empire. First built in 1538 by a Turkish architect called Sinan, it happened right after the unification of Moldovan Principality in the territory of the Ottoman Empire. Its ancient walls survived siege, fire, storm, and countless reconstructions. Being the military heritage of the country, it passed from hands of one military power to another dozens of times, including when fortress was inaccessible for 200 years when Russian army occupied it until 1770. The fortress was made in compliance with a Western European style and represent a bastion. The territory of the citadel takes up 67 hectares. Its wall rises to almost 5 meters with a width of 6 meters. Inside some of the towers, you'll find artisans, Jansians, and gunsmen once lived. So this is the top of the fortress watchtower up here. You can see the whole fortress right here. It's pretty nice vantage point. The only thing is, I have to say, if you want to come up, make sure you wear a nice boot so you won't slip and fall. I did it with a running shoes today. Not a great idea because it's very muddy on the what's called stairs of the fortress. With that being said, it's a pretty decent place, and let's go back down and see their museum. The fortress complex also includes two great historical museums, one of which is the medieval instrument of torture, which include various ancient torture tools used in this very citadel, including during both Ottoman eras and during Russian occupations. This is definitely not suitable for children. The second museum is a museum of history of Bendery strongholds, showcasing a unique collection of firearms and tablets with portraits of important figures connected to the history of the fortress. The cost of your tickets include access to this museum. It has quite a lot of interesting artifacts such as guns and different medals and so on, and also a recreation of the battle that took place here. It's very, very interesting and definitely should come and check out, but don't be surprised, there's always someone watching you here. There's also a church standing nearby the fortress, the Church of Alexander Nevsky, where all the evil people should come and pray for their sins and forgiveness. Like this guy, and this guy, maybe this guy, definitely this guy, maybe her as well. Actually, she's pretty hot, probably not, but rest of them probably going to end up in hell. Just joking. Anyways, the military church of Alexander Nevsky in the Bendery Fortress is not only the oldest religious building in Bendery, but also one of the oldest in the entire territory of Transnistria. The first Orthodox church on the site of the fortress was hastily converted from a Turkish mosque after a successive capture of the fortress by the Russian troops in 1791. However, in accordance to the Treaty of Jassy in 1791, the Bendery Fortress was returned to Turkey and all the mosques converted into Orthodox churches regained their status as a Muslim religious site. During the Romanian and fascist occupation of 1941 to 1944, in which Romanians completely looted and stolen priceless holy objects, in 1947, the military authority turned it into the Soldiers Club until 1994, when the Russian military missile unit was withdrawn. The building was abandoned until 2008, when it was transferred to the Transnistrian Authority for reconstruction. Honestly, this is the most freaky and eerie place I've ever been to. I'm surrounded with these slogans, Soviet-era posters and so on. There's a frequent bus route number 19, as well as minibuses nearby to take you directly to the city center of Tiraspol. You can buy the tickets directly from the driver, and the journey takes about only 15 minutes. Located on the northern and eastern bank of Dniester River, Tiraspol is the second largest city in Moldova with a population of 135,000 and the capital of self-declared Russian puppet state of Prinostovian Moldovan Republic, or simply as Transnistria. And Bart, you are in heaven if you want to go back in time to the Stalin era. Also, pretty much everything to see is accessible on foot and located on the long stretch of October 25th Street. So, let's get started. First, the Russian Parliament, the Transnistrian Parliament House, the Supreme Council of Prinostovian Moldovan Republic to be exact. And finally, after all that hassle, I finally made it here to Tiraspol, and I'm literally standing in the city center. Behind me is a Soviet-era tank on display, and this is actually a memorial right here. This is actually a really strange place. Literally, walking back in time, seeing the Soviet-era emblems and Russian flags, and it's a bit freaky, I have to admit. Across the street is home to the Memorial Glory to commemorate the veteran and the dead of the Great Patriotic War, the Soviet-Afghan War, and the Transnistria War. In the 1920s, a square was located on this site where the commissioner of the cavalry brigade Gregory Toski was buried, who was killed during the Russian Civil War after the liberation of Tiraspol. The T-34 tank erected at the memorial was transported from Hungary in April 1945. This was one of the tanks used in World War II, when the 121st Tank Brigade assisted the 62nd Army during the battle. There was also a capsule underneath the tank with soils from the city of Volgograd. An infernal flame at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier lit the participants of the last sea Chisinau operation, along with a memorial plaque with the inscription of 900 names of the deceased soldier. In 2011, a small chapel was built and consecrated on this very memorial square and was given the name Chapel of the St. George the Victorious. Look like these are really popular those days, and I don't know if I can say I love this place, but it's definitely interesting and a bit weird. On the way to the next attraction, you'll pass by the Suvorov Square, the city's main square named after the founder of Tiraspol. So I asked one of the restaurants if I can pay in Moldovan lei, and they say no. By the way, your gold visa is no good here, as very few places accept credit cards, and ATM are even rarer than living dinosaurs. They use their own phony currency. I decided to pay its phony central bank a visit. Sadly, despite ringing the bell multiple times, no one answered. I don't think I brought enough foreign reserve for them to take me seriously. So I headed for one of the smaller banks. I just converted some money to their local rubles here. Here's one advice. Convert probably 10 $10. That's it. That's all you need. And you can take home as souvenir. Their currency are absolutely useless once you get out of this region. So there's not much you can do with it. The Soviet banknote was used before the collapse of USSR. When other Soviet republics began issuing their own currencies, Transnistria was flooded with Soviet rubles. In July of 1993, Transnistrian government bought to use Goznet printed Soviet and Russian notes dated 1961 to 1992, which are modified by applying an adhesive stamp bearing the images of founder of Tiraspol. These phony rubles are divided to 100 kopecks, and even more interesting is they are the world's only issue of plastic coins in actual circulations. Now, if you wonder how I spent out my money, here it is. The world's worst tasting kebabs. I'm not kidding. Just like Chisinau, everything in Tiraspol closed early, and just a friendly reminder, the last bus back is 7 p.m. But on the way to the bus station, you'll encounter a few more notable landmarks on October 25th Street, including the City Hall. Formerly the House of Soviet, it is considered the most attractive building in Tiraspol and still features the statue of Lenin proudly displayed in front of the building, and bedecked with a star at the appendix, like many other Soviet buildings from these times. To reach the bus station, you'll need to make a left turn on Lenin Street, where you also see the KVINT distillery, one of the biggest exporter in Transnistria, and famous for wine and cognac. If you come early, tasting is available from $10 to $70.
Postcards tour in Noel End.
If you still have some change left after paying for your fare, consider buying some locally made souvenirs or craft, or join a free walking tour just like the one offered by this guy, and make sure to tip them well. Another great way to support the real local people in this fake country.
Postcards.